Okay, let's go.
Space. Wanna go to space?
Want to go to space? We talked about a robot heart. Well, guess what, Basil? Euronews.next. Strange heartbeat signal picked up by astronomers from galaxy far, far away.
Oh, my goodness.
The robot hearts are starting to beat here and over there.
Oh, okay. I thought you were reading that.
No.
Wow, they are on it.
Astronomers have detected a strange radio signal that emits periodically like a heartbeat and is coming from the depths of space, allegedly. Scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, in the U.S. were caught by surprise due to the intensity of the radio bursts as well as their regularity. The signal is classified as a fast radio burst, FRB, which are intense bursts of radio waves of unknown origin. This one, studied by scientists at MIT and other institutions, is currently the longest-lasting FRB to date, with the clearest periodic pattern. Named FRB 2019-1221A. The signal persists for much longer, around 1,000 times longer, in fact, than the typical FRB, raising questions about what could be causing it. FRB tends to last a few milliseconds at most, but FRB 2019-1221A goes on for up to 3 seconds with radio waves repeating.
That's an eternity for these things.
That's a long time for light.
Yeah.
That's like 15 million years in the model of stretching space-time.
Time is an illusion, folks.
Yes. With radio waves repeating every 0.2 seconds in what the astronomers call a clear pattern, or a clear periodic pattern. What could be causing it? While mysterious radio signals from space often set off excited talk of potential communication from aliens, the explanation is likely that the signal comes from a rare type of star. And they talk about a neutron star for a moment. And then there's a section called Boom, Boom, Boom. The first FRB was discovered in 2007. And since then, hundreds of similar flashes of radio waves have been detected across the universe. The vast majority of FRBs so far discovered were one-offs lasting a few milliseconds and disappearing, but this one's much longer here. And they use something called CHIME, the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, to catch some of it. Quote, it was unusual. Not only was it very long-lasting, about 3 seconds, but there were periodic peaks that were remarkably precise, emitting every fraction of a second. Boom, 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 like a heartbeat. This is the first time the signal, the signal itself is periodic, end quote, he explains. The team wants to detect more signals from the source, which they say could be used as an astrophysical clock. So I don't know, man. They're reading something from somewhere out there and, clickety clackety like a heartbeat.
Astrophysical clock. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, here's a theory. Mm-hmm. So people are talking about it, it's so precise, it's regular that, it might be from aliens, something like that,
sure, yeah. A Dyson sphere.
If we create an astrophysical clock, right now our clocks, atomic clocks, the sort of basis of time here on Earth as far as the scientific community is concerned, not just the sun moving around the Earth, but like really precise short amounts of time are based off of atomic clocks, which, it has to do with the revolving of electrons or whatever around a nucleus. It's very sort of quantum-y and complicated. But not new. But what if they started basing our Earth time off of this astro clock, and it just turns out to be aliens, and we base our entire civilization off of their little signals, and that's how the funny part is maybe it's just some robot or alien just tapping his pencil on the table as he's taking a test or something. Or perhaps it's more devious, because once we get on alien time, then it's easier for them to conquer us.
Well, I think it's that second one. There's a passage in the Bible about the Antichrist trying to change times and seasons and stuff. So maybe that's part of it,
There it is.
But that's not all. The reason why we had the Gates of the Gods jingle is because, according to phys.org, the first CERN-driven satellite successfully launches. CERN-driven satellite, Basil.
CERN-driven satellite.
Celesta.
I don't know what that means, but I don't like it. Celesta.
Yeah. Celesta.
Pretty sure that's some sort of like I don't know, medication.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's also
pressure
a lady
or something.
It's a lady. We're sending ladies out in space. Celesta, the first CERN-driven satellite, successfully entered orbit during the maiden flight of Europe's Vega C launch vehicle, launched by the European Space Agency from the French Guiana Space Center at 1313 UTC on 13th July of 2022. That's a 13-13-13. That's a hat trick right there.
Yeah, just in case anybody wasn't already convinced that the CERN folks are attempting to, cast some sort of spell or use some sort of occult mechanisms to help their projects there. What a convenient time for them to launch their satellite.
13-13-13. We got 13 states. It'll all become relevant in a moment. We will draw those dotted lines between the two dots.
Ooh, dotted lines. Okay. Yeah. One of these days, folks, Gonz is really going to nail a metaphor, and it's really going to be a wonderful day.
Dotted lines like footsteps in sand. Okay. Weighing on 1 kilogram and measuring 10 centimeters on each of its side, Celesta, which stands for CERN Latchup and Radmon Experiment Student Satellite, is a 1U CubeSat designed to study the effects of cosmic radiation on electronics.
Huh.
Interesting, huh? As if we
Weird.
never
It seems
had
like we should already know that.
Yeah, we should already know that since we went to the moon.
We have so many electronics.
Well, we had a lot
in
of
space right now.
The problem, Basil, is we've destroyed all those electronics, so we can't test them anymore.
What about satellites?
It's like the secret.
What about
it's like the Secret
satellites
Service.
Indeed.
It was just part of the routine. We're turning back in our satellites to the alien overlord lizard people, and got destroyed in the process. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, the satellites carry a space Radmon, a miniature version of the well-proven radiation monitoring device deployed by CERN's Large Hadron Collider. Celesta has been sent into Earth's orbit of about almost 6,000 kilometers, quote, right in the middle of the inner Van Allen belt. Celesta will survey an unusual orbit where radiation levels are at their highest, explains Marcus Brugger, head of the CERN Experimental Areas Group and initiator of both the CHARM, all caps, stands for something, I don't know, it doesn't say here, CHARM and Celesta projects in the context of the R2E, the Radiation to Electronics Initiative. So I find it interesting that this guy here, Marcus Brugger, who's part of the, he's one of the head guy at CERN Experimental, oops, sorry for the live streamers, I hit the wrong button. Okay, what I was saying. Okay, yeah, so here's this CERN guy, Marcus Brugger, who's the head of the CERN Experimental Areas Group and initiator of both CHARM and Celesta. His whole thing of releasing allegedly these little satellites with the same tech that they have in the Large Hadron Colliders that make black holes, miniature black holes, just put that on a little device and throw it into space, no problem. But yeah, the whole thing is based on researching the damage of electronics due to radiation, which again is just peculiar. Because
now they're sending in like these little brains. They're little brains that they use to detect things in CERN. They're shooting those into space to see how radiation affects them because radiation has been affecting them. That's the other thing. So it's like, first off, to the point we already made, which is we should know already a lot about this if the stories we have been told are true about going to the moon and all that. But the second part of it is, what is CERN doing where they're like the only place where we can figure out more, learn more about the radiation issue is to, launch this thing out into the Van Allen belt. Yeah. It really doesn't make any sense, does it?
Very strange.
I know no way to test. Is there no way to test radiation on stuff here on Earth?
I think there would be. I thought, I don't know. It wasn't CERN wasn't part of the thing. Like it creates space-like conditions or something.
They
was
make
that quantum
their own
computers?
radiation, but you could also, there's lab equipment that you can shoot radiation at stuff.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know, something like an X-ray maybe, or an MRI machine.
No, those things don't exist. So according to the IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, who I think in the very first episode of Canary Cry Radio back in 2012, we actually quoted an article from the IEEE. They've been very instrumental in, covering a lot of the topics that we've been covering in the context, a little different context, but they're a pretty big publication. And they have a bio here for Marcus Brugger. And in here, it talks about in 2010, he has been designated, or since 2010, he's been designated the project leader of the Radiation to Electronics project for the CERN Acceleratory and Technology sector, with work spanning from shielding and relocation measures, radiation monitoring, construction of new test facilities, and radiation tolerant developments of various critical LHC systems. He's worked with Fluka and all these other things. This is a man who came literally out of college, got his master's degree from the Technical University Graz, Austria in 1999, and just basically went straight into CERN. So he's like a lifelong CERN guy. Which is interesting because we've read stories. It's been a few years since we have, but we've read stories about how hard it is. Yeah.
Everybody wants to work at CERN. Like I don't even know the example I could give. It's the one, if you're into that stuff, if that's the career you're going into, it's the pinnacle. CERN is the place to go. Yeah. And he just went right in with a master's degree. Yeah. That's finalizing crazy. His master's studies already at CERN. Is he also an occult priest? Oh, this is the part that was, okay. Yeah. So let me finish the sentence because this is the part that triggered me, ironically. Okay. Marcus Brugger received the master's degree from Technical University Graz, Australia in 1999, finalizing his master's studies already at European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, Geneva, Switzerland, with the level 1 trigger for the CMS experiment. So he had a level 1 trigger, which I don't really fully know what that means. Yeah. But it sounds important. For a guy. That's exactly it. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like a big deal. I mean, if we're talking about nuclear weapons, right? The president having the nuclear codes, that's a really important thing. He's certain levels, right? What is the level? What's he called? Level orange or whatever. There's like different names and numbers and colors. But the fact that he's a level anything at CERN, coming out of a master's degree, and he was already working at CERN, something, I don't know. This guy's a lifer. Okay. So you're just another, and I haven't really dug too much, but I don't think there's like photos of him or anything out there. So I mean, maybe he does work. Maybe he's got lizard eyes and he doesn't want the world to see it. But here's your brain of CERN and trying to figure out stuff. So there you go. That's just some interesting things. So they're definitely sending these satellites into space equipped with CERN electronics for to take over the world, or Skynet, or quantum control of Chinese satellites or something. Pretty much. Or they're they found the universe clock, and they're just sending something out to connect the universe clock node to the the Switzerland node, and so they can open the portals. Sure. Makes sense. Makes as much sense as anything. Makes as much sense as the radiation testing.